Chapter 31, Target, Mid-Grade Level C. Zutui currently had 3 problems. The most important issue was his current genetic base point activation, as well as his training. Zutui desperately needed a more systematic source of information to determine the direction of his training. He needed not rely on luck. Of course, Zutui was rather satisfied with how his luck turned out previously. Zutui was very satisfied with the bean flicking technique. Zutui wanted to start studying immediately. The second problem was one that Cheng Mo also faced: money. Did Zutui lack money for his living expenses? He did not. Zutui did not bring much money with him, but it was a decent amount. He had quite a sum of money left even after paying the fees needed for the dormitory. Before he arrived there, his father also told him that they would send him $3,000 a month for his living expenses. That was quite a lot. It would definitely be enough for his daily expenses. He might even have money left by the end of the month. However, what Zutui lacked was not money for his living expenses. Instead, it was the money needed for his training. In the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, an individual had to at least be a Level E genetic liberator to attempt genetic mutation and become a genetic mutant. Clearly, Zutui was not going to, nor was he willing to, try advancing to the next stage at just Level E. If it was possible, Zutui wanted to become a Level C or even a Level B genetic liberator before he advanced to become a genetic mutant. Then, the limit to his growth in the future would be a Level B genetic mutant or even a Level B genetic evolver. That was where the problem was. He needed 7 clusters of genetic base points to become a Level C genetic liberator. That would give him 7 ability attributes. He would need 9 clusters of genetic base points to give him 9 ability attributes if he wanted to become a Level B genetic liberator. On average, a cluster of genetic base points consisted of 16 genetic base points. Abilities that were more powerful and unique required the activation of even more genetic base points. Based on the average figure, Zutui would need to activate 144 genetic base points if he wanted 9 clusters of genetic base points. Zutui did not know how other people did it. However, he understood his situation well. Zutui had the ability to activate genetic base points at will. He had to use a bottle of Level E Energy Restoration Elixir for every genetic base point he activated. Furthermore, he heard that genetic base points would get harder to activate the more advanced he got into the process. Thus, Zutui's initial estimate for the money he needed for his future training was at least $1 million. That was the sum of money he needed if he just used the most basic energy restoration elixir. Zutui knew about his family's finances. His father and mother would have no problems giving him money for his living expenses. However, he would have to deal with the money needed for his training himself. This was a difficult, long-term problem that Zutui faced. This was also the first financial problem Zutui faced when he stepped out of Jincheng Prefecture. In the past, he had felt that his parents were a little tight when it came to money. Now, Zutui could slightly understand why they were that way. It was very difficult to earn money in this world. However, the third problem Zutui faced might be able to solve his second problem to some extent. The third problem was the entry-level assessment for the new students of the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. In simpler terms, they would have to go through the tests of the genetic exams again. Compared to the genetic exams in Jincheng Prefecture that were standardized across the nation, the accuracy and sensitivity of the tests in the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, being the leading academic institution in the country, was much higher. The level assessment was similar to the scholarships in the past. In the Great Genetic Age, scholarships were collectively called student-level treatment. Zutui had received a brochure when he had just entered the student reception center. The brochure had briefly introduced the student-level treatment of the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. The level classification that the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College used on their students was almost the same as those used in the other genetic evolution colleges in the nation. They used the same broad classifications from F to A. Level F was naturally the lowest level, while Level A was the highest. However, in the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, there would be something bad in store for the students who got assessed as Level F, especially for the new students. They were basically one step from being expelled from the school. Every level above level F was further split into 3 levels. For example, a student assessed as being high-grade level E would receive the treatment proportional to that of a high-grade level E student. A student assessed as being mid-grade level C would receive the treatment proportional to that of a mid-grade level C student. This subdivision of student levels was standardized across the nation. However, the rubric used by the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College in their level assessment was different from the rest of the genetic evolution colleges. It could be said that the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College had one of the strictest rubrics in the nation. Of course, the students in the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College were treated differently from students in other colleges. They were assessed on a strict rubric, but they also received exceptional treatment. The brochure did not introduce how a level B and level A student would be treated. However, it did list the resources that a student under level B would get. Coincidentally, Zhu Tui lived in Jincheng Prefecture and knew little about the student-level treatment at Jincheng Prefecture Genetic Evolution College, which was the best college in Jincheng Prefecture. At Jincheng Prefecture Genetic Evolution College, a mid-grade level D student would receive 10 level F energy restoration pills a month and a level E energy restoration elixir once every year. The total value of their scholarship was roughly $19,440 a year. What kind of treatment would a mid-grade level D student receive in the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College? That student would receive 10 level F energy restoration pills, 1 level E energy restoration elixir, and a muscle growth acceleration enzyme elixir every month. They would receive a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir, which cost $5,000 each, monthly instead of annually. That was 10 times better than what a student in the Jincheng Prefecture Genetic Evolution College would get. There was also the muscle growth acceleration enzyme elixir, which was said to have a market price of over $1,000. The total annual value of the scholarship was over $86,000. That was 4 to 5 times more than what the Jincheng Prefecture Genetic Evolution College gave. Zhu Tui's father might not even earn that much a year. That was why Zhu Tui had his sights set on the level assessment. Based on what he knew, the resources given to a mid-grade level C student were 20 level F energy restoration pills, 4 level E energy restoration elixirs, and 2 muscle growth acceleration enzyme elixirs every month. That was merely the material resources. There were other more functional rewards. However, just those material rewards were enough to tempt Zhu Tui. That was more than $300,000 a year. It was higher than the sum of his parents' wages combined. It was too tempting. As long as he could obtain a rating of mid-grade level C and enjoy the corresponding rewards, Zhu Tui felt that he would have solved a third of the problem surrounding the money he needed for his training. He needed to have activated at least 20 genetic base points to have a chance of being assessed as level C. As for the subgrades within level C, that would depend on his performance in the other tests. A new student would not be able to obtain the rating of level B or the higher level A. Then my target shall be 20 genetic base points. Zhu Tui immediately decided to activate a base point tonight to obtain the rating of mid-grade level C. Which body part should I choose? Zhu Tui would not choose a new body part. Genetic base points had to be activated in clusters for them to have powerful abilities. It was useless to activate them at random. Zhu Tui had two choices. The first was to continue activating the genetic base points in his right hand or lower left calf. However, the outcome of this option depended on his luck. Who knew what type of genetic base points he would unlock? Zhu Tui understood that when the genetic base point he unlocked in his lower left calf brought about changes to his hand, activating a genetic base point in a certain area might not directly strengthen the ability of that area. In that instant, Zhu Tui suddenly thought about how there were many genetic base points in a man's private parts. What kind of abilities would the genetic base points there affect? Zhu Tui was moved for an instant. He wanted to try it out. However, in the end, Zhu Tui calmed down. This matter was of utmost importance. He should not fool around. It would be fine if he activated some weird abilities. But if it caused the body part to be destroyed, then let's activate the bean flicking technique on my left hand, Zhu Tui quickly decided. Many of the genetic base points in an individual's limbs were mirrored across the body. They should influence a similar ability after they were activated. He planned to develop the bean flicking technique in his left hand by activating the genetic base points in his lower right calf and left hand, mirroring the base points he activated to obtain the technique in his right hand. In the future, Zhu Tui would be able to use the technique with both hands. The technique would become more powerful if Zhu Tui found the time to make some alloyed beans in the future. If he was lucky enough to activate genetic base points relating to wrist strength in the future, Zhu Tui might even be able to use cool attacks such as throwing poker cards as blades. Zhu Tui did not drag the matter on any longer after he arrived at a decision. He took out a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir and consumed it. He then adjusted his breathing and quickly entered the illusory introspection state by meditating. He started to actively activate his genetic base points.